So Ben, thanks for joining us today on the Jim's Group podcast. And Jim forwarded me an email. Jim sends it after the first 30 days, an email to everyone. And you responded with an email basically saying you've got staff already and all these sorts of things, and you're well ahead of the curve in regards to your franchise. So maybe, do you want to talk a bit about what were you doing prior to Jim's and why did you choose Jim's Cleaning?
Well, before this, I actually spent 15 years in the car industry selling cars. I worked for Toyota, so I learned a lot of processes and business processes that way. And then just had enough of the car industry, wanted to do something different. So I come to a crossroads and decided to go out in business for myself. Come along, you guys, I was looking around at different franchises and different ideas. Come across you guys, met Daryl, my franchisor. Absolutely fantastic fella. Had a great chat with him. Got really interested in it. Then the bonus was I actually was offered to buy a business that was already established. So I picked up into a business that's already established, had 57 customers, had one employee, which was happy to come over with us, which was great because I needed that straight away. But then I was looking at the hours that the others were doing, and they were doing over 55 hours a week, which I knew I couldn't handle myself. So when I went down to training with you guys, which was very informative, everything like that, talking to the other ones that were at training and that, and I'm telling them about what's happening with me. And they said, why don't you actually get there and if you got to still do the on-road training, get a person, employ someone and actually get them to go out with you so you can train them up to do some of those jobs that take the pressure off you before you even start. So that's actually what I did. And I was able to get another fella who I paid an extra week for while he went out training with them as well as me. And that way I got to have the second person start straight away. That was a bonus of it. From there, from these 57 customers, I have not turned on leads or anything like that. I've got that many referrals and that much business that I had no choice. I've got to end up with a full-time building contract for full-time. So I've had to now employ another third person to be able to cover that. Otherwise, I'll be just nothing but declining work because there is that much work out there.
The magic. And you're in Torquay, which is in Southwest Victoria on the Surf Coast, aren't you?
No, Torquay in Harvey Bay, Queensland.
Oh, okay, in Queensland. Sorry, I saw Torquay and I thought you were a Vic boy. So Queensland. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So why'd you settle on Jim's Cleaning in the start? Because you're looking at a few other things you said. So what made Jim stand out to you?
One, the way it's all set up. I like the way it's set up. I like the way the franchise works, especially with the franchise fees and stuff like that, where they're not working on a percentage rate. I used to work for a mate of mine years and years ago, and we had a shop at Westfield Tuggerah, and even in like places like that, you know, they actually look at your books all the time, and they will charge you rent on what you're actually earning. Now, I like the fact that you guys don't. You set a one fee, so you know where you stand, and the rest you're actually earning, so you can actually earn the money for yourself. You're not just working for the actual franchise to earn them more money.
And how
which is a real bonus.
It is absolutely. It's a big difference in our system is that with the flat fee. But I was going to say, how was the training then for you? So you obviously come down. Did you come down from Queensland to do the training in person, or you did it online?
Yes. Yeah. No, I came down. Did it down there at the university. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I must admit, best food I've ever had.
It is good food. Yeah,
it's worth it just for the food.
Yeah. How many kilos did you put on after the food, you reckon?
Oh, plenty. It was actually good to come back and work out and have a bit of a sweat. But no, it was really good. I found it really informative. It got me a lot of the little finer details, like how to put your GST, everything aside. Because even in this first month of working this business, I'm watching just how much gets taken out in the tax, the super, GST and all that. And I see what you mean. Like if you're in your business and you didn't understand this and they didn't teach you all this, you don't put that aside, you're going to be stuffed. Because even in the first month, the bill I've got sitting aside already is massive. You know, it's amazing just how much it can actually hurt you and you're not ready for it. So, yeah. Jim, absolutely brilliant, down to earth. Great just to be able to talk with him and actually understand where he comes from and his perceptions, how he talks about how he's had the first whippersnipper and everything like that. Mate, that's how I like to run my businesses. It's all, like he says, about the wow factor. It's all about making that client make it absolutely fantastic. So even when I've taken over this business, I've changed a few things up to try and make the actual cleans smell better. So that way it's not just a clean where it's visual, it's also sensors. You can smell that it's cleaner and that, which I'm getting a lot of good feedback from the customers.
Yeah. So what do you do there? What's the little extra you're doing? Like you said, the smell. Like, is there something you're just going and spraying after the job, or what do you do specifically?
No. I've actually bought. This is, of course, Daryl again. Got me onto these sort of ideas. So I gone and I've put deodorizers into all my vacuums. So that way, as you're going around, it's actually deodorizing the place. You haven't got a bad smell or anything coming out of the vacuums. Make sure that the actual guys do clean them at least once a day, to make sure that you're getting most of that smell. And if you're going into a house that's had dog hair or anything like that, you're not bringing it into the next house. So by putting these in, they're actually quite a nice smell, but it's very strong and it comes out the vent. So that way you got a nice smell through the place. Then I've added a few products, like most of the times you see them do it clean, they'll use a bit of spray on the toilet, stuff like that. I've even gone to using toilet duck, found a toilet duck style to actually make sure you got that nice smell, so it actually lingers after it's finished. And that way, when you've shut the toilet bowl and stuff like that, it's holding it in there. So when they first go in there, they know it's really clean.
Yeah. Is it something that clients actually do tell you as a feedback they do notice?
Yeah. I've actually had, because I've got a lot of the residential customers, get a lot of comments back. I've actually seen them on my employees' texts and that, saying how much they love the smell of it after they finished, everything like that. I've got also commercial properties, which I'm getting great feedback off them as well, because I'm doing the same for them. Because you look at a commercial, most people think you just give it a quick clean and get out of there. If you want to do that, that's fine, and most of them will be happy with it. But if you can go that little bit extra step, well, then what you're doing is you're just making it more presentation. They come in, they know it's been cleaned, and you have no issues and no complaints from them.
That's
Because
fantastic.
they can actually see.
That's awesome. Now you run a business with employees already, which a lot of franchisees might not do or be scared to do. So maybe talk about, from your perspective, about how do you actually employ an employee, or how do you manage them? What's some advice regarding that?
Well, that's been fun. Doing it for 1 month, it's been fun. The hardest part is making sure, and the scariest part for me would have actually been the first 2 weeks of the business, to actually make sure that enough income came back in to be able to pay the workers. Because if you can keep your workers happy worker means they're going to do a better job. So it's all about just looking after them, making sure you get the right person who's got the right sort of mentality as I do, because I want someone who wants to go that extra mile, wants to do that extra step. If they don't want to do it, they just want to get in there and clean, well, then you're just going to be the same as everyone else out there. But I was lucky enough to be able to find someone who's got that same passion, wants to get in there, do a perfect job, make sure that they're happy, smiling before they leave every time. And the one thing my employees do know is every time before they do leave any residential place, that ask them, are you happy? Is there anything else we can do before I go? And that way, you're always on top of it and they're happy with everything that you've done.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And have you found the first month, because it's happened so quick for you, obviously going from being working in the car industry to this within 1 month with multiple employees doing the business. So how's the transition from that employee to business owner mindset gone?
It's been great. The one thing I must admit, I was lucky if you do car sales, when I had my first meeting 15 years ago, I still remember walking into that interview. And the one thing they did say to me is, you're married to the job. So you've got to pretty much look at it as running your own business inside our business. So that's how my mindset was always set. So to actually get away and actually now have full control and be able to do what I want to do to make it run the way I want it to run and have that freedom, I love it a lot more. So that's the one bonus I've got over all that sort of stuff. Just really enjoyed it. It's been very hectic though, trying to get control of 57 clients straight up. Be able to work out how to invoice, how to set up for your staff, how to make sure that you got all the right information, your workers cover, all that sort of stuff. It's taken a big toll on me, but in saying that, it's been worth every bit. And it's made it a lot easier. And actually, the one thing I do like about all this, you go from where I was in car sales, I was working 5.5 days a week. So I only really had Saturday afternoons off and Sundays. That was it. Now I actually get most of my weekdays off. I do the night shifts and I do the weekend work. So I've actually got a life back. And yet I was still earning good money, well, great money actually. And it's always slowly just coming into place. But you've got to always think outside the square, because at the end of the day, it's amazing how many little things will just go wrong, and you just got to learn how to just correct it and get on top of it straight away. And that keeps the pressure off of you.
That's great advice. So I was going to, yes. So let's just talk about it real quickly. Everyone always wants to talk about money. You don't have to say specifics, but your money, obviously you earn now to what you were earning previously, is better, or is it about the same?
I think at this stage, when I looked at their books to purchase the business and that, I looked at it, and by the time what the business will earn and what I pay myself in a wage, or what they used to pay in a wage, I actually earn about the same. But now I've got that third employee, and I'm also free during the week, which means I can pick up exit cleans, I can pick up bond cleans. Everything is just on top. So hopefully, by the way it's looking and what I'm forecasting towards the future, is that I will actually be earning more money than what I'll ever earn at the car yard. And the car yard, you're limited to how many cars you can sell, because how much work you can do. With this, at least, because I've got the business, if I want more work, I've got to put on more employees. But every time you put on an employee, if you work it out right, they'll earn you money. So, and as long as they're earning you extra money, that's the main thing, which is building your own.
And what about your lifestyle as well? You mentioned that how's your day set up? You did mention it just briefly. Now, do you work around kids or anything, or how does your lifestyle work with the business now?
Yeah, well, my lifestyle's pretty easy at the moment. I've got a missus, got 2 kids. To keep me busy, which is really great, because like even next week, because of the fact that I've actually got this time to be able to rearrange and set for myself, I'm actually going to be able to make it to the young girl's graduation for her end of primary school. So and I can make it to that, where if I was working in the car yard, no, I wouldn't have been allowed to let loose, because it's during the day. So I can control my lifestyle to actually be able to turn up for more events and have better family lifestyle and turn up for more things like that, which is wrapped to me. Yeah.
Now, has the business married up to what we tell you before you become a franchisee? Was it this? Did it marry up to what you've been experiencing, or how's that been?
Yeah, I would say everything like what you said, how to do it, but you got to follow your lines, what you get taught at the training. If you don't follow it, it's going to be a headache. It is, because there is a lot of little issues in that which you'll come across. But if you keep referring back to that training and how they showed you how to do stuff and that, it does make it so much easier. And that's the one thing. And that's the one thing, they're going down to actually the training with you guys and you explaining how these run, how your bash runs, how to do this. But they even talked about employees, and most people, like you say, are not going to have employees straight away. But to have that education, have that in the back of your mind, really comes in handy when you come across the little hiccups and little situations which you're always going to have.
That's a great point, is to follow the training. A lot of people sometimes might want to try and do something that's not with the guidelines or whatever, and find themselves in trouble. That's a great point where you said just stick with the training and trust it, and then you can apply it. So what's your hope for your business, Ben? What do you hope to do moving forward? Because it's been so quick and you've already got 3 employees and already a large client base. So what's your ultimate plan for yourself and your business?
Well, the ultimate plan is, first of all, was to just settle the business down, not to go like this. But that's how much work is out there. There is more work in this area than we've got cleaners. So realistically, it means you can actually pick and choose your jobs. So you don't have to take on the worst jobs. You can actually take on the ones that are half decent and worth the while. Where, other ones that may be over the top and hard, you can sort of leave them alone. So that's one bonus you do have. So you can pick and choose there, because of how much work's out there. And that's the one thing I've got to say, is the main thing, which is, and then just finding those right ones, which are going to earn you the good money in that. Like you say, I've had a few where I've actually gone out to the jobs, gave them quotes, and been knocked back. But I don't mind, because if they're not going to be at the price, like they say you should be, it's not worth doing, If you're going to, because I've got that much work as it is, I can pick and choose at this stage. And that's the one bonus I do have about buying a pre-existing business. Where,
And what do you think the gym's cleaning or your business is different compared to other independent cleaners that you know of? You mentioned things like the odorizer and the vacuum cleaner and stuff like that. So what's the difference in regards to people should use gym's cleaning as opposed to independents?
Because one, we're trained properly. That's number one. Number two, we're set up properly. So we've got to get our liability insurance. We've got to get our police checks. There's that many around here that I've actually, and talking to customers, talking to other people, you've got these little companies that they go out, they buy themselves a vacuum, they buy themselves a mop, set up an ABN, and off they go. And then they want to charge half the rate I'm charging. But you don't care about them, because at the end of the day, every single one goes through the same process, which is within 2 years, they've gone bust and broke and they're out. I was actually out at a commercial job 2 weeks ago. And I had one of my clients from when I worked in the car yard, who I sold a car to, come up and actually see me. And they seen that I was in the gym's uniform doing the job. And they said, "Oh, you're in the cleaning now." And they even turned around and said, "We had a cleaner out there, but 2 years later, they've gone belly up. So now we've got to find us as another cleaner." So the one thing you can give them is peace of mind that you got your police checks, you got your coverage, you got everything else. But they're also the security that the gym's cleaning franchise is so big, it's going to stay around. So it gives them peace of mind knowing that, 12 months or 6 months down the track, is this company still going to be in business? Yeah, and that's the other good thing.
And the brand obviously helps in regards, not just only you're going to have security for the customer, but there's obviously more things. So the brand's obviously helped you with building your business better, as opposed you could do independent. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. The brand is is one of the biggest things to be able to help you. Like Jim will tell you, when you go to training, you can lift your prices because of the brand. And that's exactly how it is. Because of this brand and because of the training we get and the setups we get, you can actually do that. And don't be afraid to do it. That's the thing, be straight up and just go, yeah, well, because I've actually had ones where I walked up and I said, yeah, but I have liability insurance. I have a police check and that. And then the other good thing is, of course, this area, what it is, we've got a lot of NDIS up here. So what ends up happening is you get set up with those agencies. Now, those agencies are going to call you because you're a gym's cleaner over any of the independents before they actually, if they need a cleaner, before they take on anyone else of those independents, because they know you're set up properly. They're going to ask for your liability. They're going to ask for your police check. They're going to ask for all this to be set up into their companies. And it's worthwhile because that way they know they've got peace of mind that they're dealing with a serious company. It's just someone who's gone and just slapped together something and set it up.
That's a really good point. I think with the NDIS being such a big business now for people, I think gyms as a franchisee, you've got such an advantage with that brand. As you said, you're not just going to disappear in a year. They know the brand, you're there for a long haul.
That's right.
It's just that trust. But I was going to say, the comment we see online and a lot of the time, it's like everyone says, you don't pay gym fees, do it independent and don't pay any money to gym and all that sort of stuff. So maybe you want to talk about, do you think you could have done, because you seem like you're obviously very, very switched on with what you've been able to do. It's very impressive. But do you think independent to being the franchise route, how do you think you would have gone if you did an independent as Ben's cleaning compared to the gyms?
Well, that's quite simple. To explain that, I can explain that very easy. I've got a mate of mine who started up his own pressure washing company. And I do help him out with his advertisement and that on the side because he's one of my best mates. But he's actually struggling for work. Where if I was in that same position, I could open up gyms leads straight away. And at this time, I haven't needed to, but I could open up gyms leads straight away. And there's 3,000 unserviced leads, So I've got the advantage of not only being able to advertise the way you guys, like he does, which is pretty much on Facebook and just getting out there door knocking and that. You've also got the backup of the fact that you've got this call center where it sends through a whole heap of leads, people ringing because they want that gym's name and set up that way. I've got a couple of the companies that ring me all the time now, just to do fan cleans and window cleans. And these are clients that are actually, they've got cleaners inside these agencies that actually go out and do their cleaning, but they won't do certain jobs. So these isolated jobs, they'll actually contact me because of the gym's brand.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's very hard being an independent. Advertising now is so expensive. And if you don't know where to start, like you're doing a Google Ads campaign or Facebook Ads campaign can be quite daunting and quite expensive. Correct. And not lead to anything.
Yeah. And that's what's happening. My mate's he's getting a little bit of work, like just enough to scrape through, but he's paying for this advertisement.
Well, he should be coming across the gyms.
Yeah, that's right. my advertisement is this brand right here. Yeah.
It's fantastic. Now I was going to say, in regards to like just making the decision, it's very hard to make the decision. Obviously, you're established in your industry. You've been there for years. But like, why did you just make the change? Was it just something where you needed a change, or you wanted better lifestyle? What was it? Because a lot of people would have been in your position, but they've done the same thing for, let's say, a long time and really good at it, and then they light on the sand and they do it. It's a very scary thing. So maybe do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was exactly better lifestyle. That was it. I was overworking every single day, all day. Couldn't turn up for kids' events. Can't do this. You only got a day and a half off. So by the time you get home, you do your clean, do your mowing, or whatever you have to do to the normal routines for the week. You don't feel like you've ever had time off. At least with this, I've got that much time up my sleeve because I've got the workers out doing a lot of the work, and I just can pick the bigger jobs to be able to take on the cream. It makes it that I've got a lifestyle back, so I can select it. Like, I've actually got a whole weekend. I actually got my Thursday and Friday is now my weekend, and that's my time off. So I can actually allocate. So I've always got a good break. But then I still work the Monday. I work Wednesday nights. I work Thursday nights. Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I've got like over 8 hours each day of commercial cleans. So that's where I take it. And this is the other thing. If you are going to employ employees, read the rules. So you make sure you know the rules of what the employees are under, because at this stage, I'll make sure that all my employees work during the day and I don't have to pay the penalty rates. Because as soon as penalty rates come involved, then it can actually kill your business. So I selected the work to take on was everything that will cop a penalty rate. I've taken on that work myself. And that way, you're covered.
And your mindset's great, Ben, in regards to, even though a lot of franchisees start off working in the business as a sole trader, and that's fine for them, but you've obviously come with a mindset of being a business owner in regards to working on the business, not just in the business as well. So was that something before you come to gyms that you knew you wanted to do, or was it something in training you picked up, or where did you learn that from?
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do. I wanted to own my own business, be in control of what I wanted to do, because you look at a lot of businesses and that, you get in there, you work, they're great, but at the end of the day, you're not always happy with every decision they make. Now, every decision I make is for the betterment of my business. So I know that I've got that full control, and I've also got the full responsibility, and I love having that responsibility to be able to say, well, whatever decision I make is going to affect my business. So I've got to make that right decision, which does slow you down, and you sort of got to not just jump in and go, right, I'm going to do this. You got to think about it and plan it. And look, even with some of the things I've done, like we are going to close for Christmas for a week. That's what the old owners used to do. But before I even did that, I actually got a meeting with the workers and I put it to them. What would you guys like to do? Because just starting up, having that week off is very hurtful for your business, just coming into my second month. But I looked at it, and if that's what they wanted and that's the way it's ran, I'm happy to do it for them. Because again, keep your workers happy. You don't want to give them too much. You want to give them what they want in work, and give them control of that sort of stuff a little bit, so they feel like they've actually got a place in the business and they're actually valued. And if you do that, you look after workers, they'll look after you.
And you mentioned before 3,000 unserviced leads up in your area. So is that just in your area alone, or around in your area? Just 3,000 unserviced leads. And obviously that it's not a good thing, but it can be a bad thing, obviously, because customers can't get service. But in regards to the leads there, as you said, there's plenty available.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's that much work out here. Look, at the end of the day, Daryl, my franchisor, we get along great. We talk all the time. We help each other out. We lean on each other. He's been a great help. If it wasn't for him, I would have been absolutely head-necked in that first few weeks, especially. But he's helped me out with little advice, little things to do and all that. Got me up and running, and everything's been great. Now, he also got there, and he's got another person who's looking at starting a business. So this weekend, I'm to take them out, and I'm going to show them how my business runs and show them. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm not actually scared of them, because there is that much work out there. The more, if we put another business into this area, then you've got another franchisee running around, which is just spreading the name more. So, because you're always going to have over a period of time where some of these customers, because we are dealing with elderly and that, are going to drop off sooner or later. And you've got to be able to pick up new business to be able to keep filling those gaps. So to have another business on is not going to hurt. It's just going to spread the gym's name. I mean, yes, great. He's going to have more work than he can handle. That's going to be great. But what's it going to do? It's going to pick up more inquiry again. So we're most likely still going to be in the same position, even if we got another franchise in the area.
Sure. Now, for people who don't know gyms, you mentioned the word franchisor, and Daryl Bradford is your franchisor. So maybe you want to explain to people just in a nutshell, what does a franchisor do, and how do they actually support you?
So franchisor, quite simply, what he does for me is he's always there. So if I've got something I can't work out, I'm not sure of something, I don't have to sit here and go, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm stuck. I get on the phone, I ring him. If he doesn't answer the phone, I'll guarantee within 15 minutes to half an hour, he's always back on that phone to me. I never have a worry. And then I can ask him the questions. He's been doing it for years himself before he became a franchisor. So he's got the knowledge. He's been through a lot of the stuff I'm going through. So he can give you advice. He can show me what to do and make it easier path to be able to control and set up the way I need to be able to set up. And if I'm not sure of something, I'm like got that 50-50, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? I can ask the question to him. And you most often find that 90% of the time, he's already done that or tried that, and he can tell me his response on what reactions he got from it. So yeah, just the best. It's just like a brains trust, really. That's always there to help and support you.
That's a great way to look at it, brains trust. I mean, I haven't heard that before described with franchise also. It's a great word to use. And I was going to say as well, what's your advice then for maybe someone thinking about doing a gym's franchise in regards? Because obviously there's a lot of stuff online where people can research, but what would be your best bit of advice for them?
Go for it. If you really want to do it, I couldn't see why not. I mean, like I say, there's that much work out there. The brand, the way you guys run the franchise, the way you guys set fees. Because another thing, again, on those fees, those set fees, at least you know every single month what you've got to pay out in fees. So you've got control of it straight away. As soon as these other companies that want to take 10, 20% of your profits, you've got no control. So you don't know how much money you're going to lose that next month because of the franchise fees. At least this way, you know, okay, I've got to pay this fee. That's the bill. I'll just make sure that money's put aside. And you got full control. So yeah, that's one thing. And yeah, I'd say to anyone, go for it. It's been the best experience. I'm loving it. I actually wake up with motivation every day now and actually want to get in and do stuff. It's actually funny, even though Thursday and Friday is meant to be my weekends, I actually still do things for the business every day because I'm enjoying what I do. I love what I do nowadays. But at least I can also drop it and go do family stuff and actually spend time with the kids and the family.
That's fantastic, Ben. And I really appreciate your time today. And thanks for joining us on the Gym Script podcast. And really interested to see where you know, in a year or 2 years' time, who knows, you might have 20 employees or something like that. I don't know. Why not? You've already got 3 after a month, which is, I think, a record. I haven't heard of anyone doing that.
Yeah. Well,
so that's
I want to be up with Daryl. Daryl's got 12. So I want to be up there.
There you go.
Yep. And
great.
And that's one good thing. That's the good thing with the franchisor. They've already been through, they're doing it. So they know and they've got the knowledge, so you can lean on them and they can help you out. And
yeah. So if you get to 10 or plus employees, that's a fantastic business for anyone. You know, it's a really good achievement.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
thanks.
looking forward to it.
No, thanks, Ben. Appreciate your time, mate.
No worries, Joel.